Section 4 of the CAMS examination focuses on conducting and supporting the investigation process, representing 21% of the overall exam content. This domain evaluates a candidate's ability to identify, investigate, document, escalate, and report suspicious activities that may involve money laundering, terrorist financing, sanctions violations, or related financial crimes. Effective investigations are critical because they transform transaction monitoring alerts, customer concerns, and regulatory inquiries into actionable intelligence. AML professionals play a central role in gathering information, evaluating evidence, protecting sensitive data, and supporting law enforcement efforts. This domain emphasizes both investigative techniques and the institutional responsibilities associated with financial crime detection and reporting. A fundamental responsibility of AML investigators is determining whether suspicious activity warrants escalation and reporting. Financial institutions must maintain procedures for identifying unusual customer behavior, reviewing suspicious transactions, and documenting findings. Candidates are expected to understand how suspicious activity reports, SARs, or suspicious transaction reports, STRs, should be prepared and communicated to appropriate authorities. The examination emphasizes the importance of providing accurate, objective, and comprehensive information that enables regulators and law enforcement agencies to assess potential criminal conduct. Effective reporting contributes to broader efforts to disrupt illicit financial networks and strengthen the integrity of the financial system. Documentation management is another essential component of the investigative process. Financial institutions must maintain records supporting the identification and analysis of suspicious activities. These records may include account information, transaction histories, customer correspondence, due diligence documentation, and investigative notes. The CAMS examination evaluates a candidate's understanding of how such information should be secured, retained, and protected from unauthorized disclosure. Proper documentation supports regulatory examinations, internal reviews, and criminal investigations. Comprehensive records also provide an audit trail demonstrating that the institution conducted appropriate reviews and complied with applicable legal and regulatory obligations throughout the investigative process. The examination also focuses on customer investigations and account management decisions. Institutions may encounter situations where customer activity presents elevated money laundering risks that require enhanced scrutiny. Candidates must understand how to evaluate customer relationships, identify indicators of suspicious behavior, and determine whether accounts should remain open or be terminated. Certain circumstances may require maintaining a relationship at the request of law enforcement authorities despite identified risks. AML professionals must balance regulatory obligations, investigative objectives, institutional risk tolerance, and legal considerations when making recommendations regarding customer relationships. These decisions often have significant operational and reputational implications. Interaction with regulatory agencies and law enforcement authorities is a major focus within this domain. Financial institutions frequently receive requests for information during investigations involving customers, employees, or broader criminal activities. Candidates must understand the various methods authorities use to obtain information and the types of records typically requested. The examination evaluates how institutions should respond to subpoenas, regulatory inquiries, financial intelligence unit requests, and other official investigations. Effective cooperation supports criminal investigations while ensuring compliance with privacy laws, confidentiality requirements, and institutional policies. Proper handling of governmental requests demonstrates professionalism and regulatory accountability. Another critical area involves investigating internal misconduct and suspicious employee activity. Financial crime risks are not limited to customers. Employees, executives, and even senior management may engage in activities that compromise compliance programs or facilitate criminal behavior. The CAMS examination addresses scenarios involving suspicious conduct by high-level personnel, including board members and chief executives. Candidates must understand escalation procedures, governance requirements, and investigative protocols necessary to address sensitive internal cases. Effective internal investigations require independence, confidentiality, objectivity, and appropriate oversight to ensure that potential misconduct is identified and addressed without undue influence or conflicts of interest. Information gathering and interviewing techniques are also emphasized throughout this section. AML investigators often rely on both internal and external sources of information when evaluating suspicious activity. Public records, corporate registries, sanctions databases, media reports, court filings, and other intelligence sources can provide valuable insights. The examination evaluates a candidate's understanding of how these resources support investigations. Additionally, professionals must understand appropriate interviewing techniques when speaking with employees, customers, or other relevant parties. Effective interviews help clarify facts, identify inconsistencies, and develop a more complete understanding of potentially suspicious conduct while maintaining professionalism and legal compliance. Finally, Section 4 highlights the importance of international cooperation, privacy protections, and financial intelligence sharing in combating global financial crime. Money laundering and terrorist financing often involve multiple jurisdictions, requiring coordination among financial intelligence units, FIUs, regulators, central banks, and law enforcement agencies. Candidates must understand the role of government FIUs and the mechanisms through which authorities exchange information across borders. At the same time, institutions must respect strict privacy and data protection requirements when handling customer information. This balance between information sharing and confidentiality is essential for successful investigations. Collectively, the competencies covered in this domain enable AML professionals to support effective investigations and strengthen global financial crime prevention efforts.